Dear friends, this is a short video about cryptocurrencies. For those of you who did not bother learning about cryptocurrency and what it is and the evil intentions behind it, here's a short video for you with some facts. Now, I'm not going to cover everything, but few facts about it that you probably are not aware of. Computer is evil. Computer hardware is dumb. Computer software is smart. And it does what the programmer tells it to do. So for example, you put 1 plus 1 in a calculator on your computer and it gives you 2. A programmer can simply make it give you 3. It's that simple. Computer doesn't know if it's given the wrong answer or not. It's the logic that is put in the program itself that flows through the CPU, and the byproduct of a say 1 plus 1 equals 2 is really a text printed on the screen. Back to cryptocurrency. Fact number 1, it is not anonymous. Meaningly, however you buy it, even if you went to a teller that sells you cryptocurrency, a picture of you is taken and you're tracked. Basic and simple. Not that because you're a terrorist or you're a drug dealer or a terrorist organization or money laundering or whatever it is, although it could be used for all. Cryptocurrency could be used for all of that stuff. And it's heavily used by terrorist organizations like Hezbollah and the Syrian regime and here and there. It is heavily used. What's the difference between a dollar in your pocket and a cryptocurrency? On the face of it or on the surface of it, they're really the same. So a dollar in your pocket has a serial number, a unique serial number. And if you take this serial number, 14 number, if I recall, 14 digits with some lettering in it, the combination that you can get out of that is something like 92 trillion bill of either 20 or 100 or $1 or whatnot. But what's the difference really? Now, in cryptocurrency, it's much more than that. Why? Because the numbers are actually no longer a serial number, but it's a unique certificate. Meaningly, it has variations. So that dollar is well known. The only way to verify if it's forgery or not, and everybody can verify, somebody gives you $100, there are very sure and good ways to know if it's a good $100 printed by the US government or it is not. But no matter who you are and where you are, the dollar has that certain value and it's in your pocket and it will be accepted legal tender. Meaning you walk into a store or you shake hands with somebody or buy a house or whatever it is, you take that dollar out of your pocket or, just as an example, a dollar. You give it to them and they look at it, they make sure it's good, or there are actually those optical based machines, counters, they count the dollar and they check it and they take it from you. They never ask you to check on your background or do anything. Basic and simple. So the control of it is just to make that the dollar bill is printed by the US government and the serial number is unique. It's what it is actually. Now that said, a cryptocurrency, aside from it being known to the bearer of that cryptocurrency, that serial number or a certificate, which is a cryptography generated certificate, which identifies that number, has much more possibilities. Like you can print and limited quantity of it, if you will. Now, nobody can go to that dollar in your pocket or $100 in your pocket and nullify it. It just cannot be nullified. In order for an evil entity to come and influence the dollar, they have to go do it through their establishment, such as people in the White House and in the Congress and in the stock market and here and there and in Europe and everywhere else. They lower the dollar, get more money of it, right? Dollar value. Now, I'm not an economist, but I do know what's going on here. So for somebody to come and revoke your dollar, they cannot do it. Even the government itself, even the US government, no matter where you are, they cannot come and say the dollar in this man's pocket is revoked, is no longer usable. How are they going to do that? They cannot do that. You have to dispatch the number or serial number of that $1 to all those who use that currency, and they in turn have to verify that serial number and delete it and not accept it from you. Impossible. Cryptocurrency, on the other hand, is different. Every certificate is singularly is controlled by a singular process, and it's known who owns it. Meaning, someone in Tel Aviv or somewhere can press a button, and that certificate, which is $1 or $1 million or whatever it is in your pocket, is nullified. Basic and simple. So that's that. Just know this fact. Meaningly, once the currency, the cryptocurrency, if, and I predict it will not happen, if it replaces the dollar, every single person can be targeted, or an entire city, or an entire group of people, or an entire nation, or an entire world for that matter. With a press of one button, all these certificates can be nullified. Why? Because when you go to cash your cryptocurrency, nobody will accept it at face value as a printed legal tender, or as a printed currency. Why is that? Because they have to verify who issued it. It's not issued by the US government. It's not represented by way of certain paper. It is not backed by a government, right? So when you go, if somebody comes to pay you with a cryptocurrency, right, and they give you the certificate, you cannot just take it as is. You have to cash it through a cryptocurrency exchange somewhere, either whoever it is and so on. So you guys get the gist of it, that control of cryptocurrency is fine-grained, meaning per person, per certificate, per unit. Can be nullified anytime by someone that you do not know. And there are examples. If the exchange that issued the currency is out of is closed down, your currency basically is null and void. You can call the government all you want and tell them that, hey, my cryptocurrency is not working. What will they tell you? They will tell you that we don't issue cryptocurrency. That's the exchange that you bought it from, and these are not accounted for what they do. Basically, you don't know who they are, and it happened. Sometimes it is a criminal act. Like for example, in Turkey, about a year ago, maybe less than a year ago, the main cryptocurrency, which has a value supposedly of $3 billion, owned by Turkish people, basically just closed down, took the money, and went to pawn. Basic and simple. And all those people who owns cryptocurrency are no longer able to get their money back. So fine-grained control and heavy-handed control. So, for example, if your money in the bank, if you're a millionaire, you're Anglo-Saxon or black or whoever you are, or an Arab, if the cryptocurrency that you bought, like you converted all your money into cryptocurrency, right? You can wake up next day and you're penniless. It's that simple. It's no different than the stock market. Do you remember in 1929 when certain establishment crashed the stock market? And guess what happened? I read horror stories, I watched documentaries and read horror stories about some people who were like millionaires, or who were well-to-do, or who were fine, waking up next day and not being able, and wake up next day and are unable to buy their own food. That was intentional in 1929. You guys know it, and I know it. Cryptocurrency is as such, and in fact, it's meant to ditch the entire world. The whole ship will be scuttled, and those people who are behind the cryptocurrency have already taken the lifeboat to survive this calamitous situation. And a lot of people in the establishment are pitching for it because they plan for it to become something effective. Now, there's more sinister purpose in cryptocurrency. You Arabs, you Europeans, you Americans, you Chinese, you whoever you are, you Americans, you Canadians, you South Americans, you blacks, you whites, whoever you are, and any shade in between. The current world establishment have been selling bonds in the name of government, such as United States or Russia or China, and they're selling bonds, and these are in the trillions, meaning the people all over the world invested their cash in bonds, and that, of course, is a security thing, right? Meaning they buy bonds and then live off the interest rate, meaning that's your living for the rest of your life, right? You don't want to do anything else. Now, I'm not discussing this, your lifestyle or what do you do for life or however it is, but here's something to consider. You who ever lent governments or bought bonds or hedge funds or whatever it is, if cryptocurrency takes over from dollar or euro, your debt will be considered as such. Your debt or investment in the government or in hedge funds or anywhere else will be considered as such. Or if you have investment in companies, will be considered as such if the cryptocurrency happens. If next day you wake up and the cryptocurrency value is dropped to zero, unlike the dollar, this could be dropped, certain number of chain of certificates, which is really the cryptocurrency itself of certain people, of certain whatever it is, of certain exchange, could be dropped to zero, and your debt to the government or if the government if the government changes the dollar into a cryptocurrency, then your debt to the government is zeroed out. I hope you realize what you're doing if you have lent the US government or hedge funds or anybody else cryptocurrency. If they do change into cryptocurrency, I hope you realize what you're doing and the future of your money that you invested or whatever it is, you're a bank, whatever you are. So this lent money will disappear, basic and simple. And next day they will call you, oh, guess what? Riots will happen and whatever. And it happened, in Argentina before. One day people woke up and banks are closed. And all their deposits, dollars, whatever it is, just disappear. They have to start from scratch. Where did the money go? Guess what? The establishment and the investors in the stock market and whatnot. Same thing is happening in Lebanon now. All these people who deposited dollars in their accounts and in their livelihood and savings for their children, suddenly they just don't have it, So know what you're doing. The idea is those people in the establishment who are oversubscribing the dollar cannot destroy the dollar because they have to destroy the entire dollars. They cannot bring down the value of $1 alone or $2 alone or $100 bill. They cannot do that. There is no way of verifying that. There is no way of doing anything else to it. Now, what about banks? You say, well, banks, the same thing. They cannot do the same thing. Banks are bound by dollars. And if they want to start messing up with dollars, guess what? People will not trust banks anymore. So there is a symbiotic relationship between banks being virtual, right? Their money is virtual, and the trust of people. If the banks begin to mess with the value of money or dollars or however it is, people will lose trust in the banks. Banks will lose business. So it's a symbiotic relationship. It's like walking on two crutches. You cannot let go one or the other because you're going to fall down. People, I can sit here and talk for hours on about the evil of this cryptocurrency and what it is meant to do. But if you never believed in conspiracy, now is the time to believe in conspiracy. And it's also co-located or in conjunction or confluence or in convergence with coronavirus and that hoax and with the vaccine and so on and so forth. I cannot emphasize enough on you how evil that cryptocurrency is. If it replaces the dollar, guess what? That's communism by way of computers. Click the button and that's it. And you're penniless. In the Soviet Union, in Russia, when communism came about, people basically lost all their livelihood and farms, and it all became owned by the state, right? And all they can do is really consume whatever they need to continue existing, such as consume like food and have a little house, and that's it. Basic and simple. You became a cog in the wheel of the machine, of the big machine called communism, and all that you had inherited, all that you can own, the business and so on, gone. Basic and simple. This cryptocurrency is something similar. Once, if it becomes dominant, predominant, and takes over, impoverishing everybody in the world is a matter of time. It's a press of a button. And from where? From Tel Aviv. Now, it may not be literally from there, but that's where the order will come from. My advice to you folks is don't deal with that. Some people will come and convince you that, look, investing in cryptocurrency will give you a lot of money. Like at one point it was 6,000. If you invested in it, it went up to 64,000. Oh, look how much money you made. You may make a couple of dollars now or in the near future, but this is the bait to pull the fish, to reel the fish in. To reel the fish in, you cannot put just the hook by itself. You have to put some food for the fish, and that is a worm. That is what they're doing. They're trying to pull you in. Once it becomes like predominant and popular, that's when they reel you in, put you in the net, and then you become a barbecued fish or however they cook you. Folks, this is the mother of all evil, this cryptocurrency. You make it popular, blame nobody but yourself. The future that is proposed by those communists and Putins for cryptocurrency and world order and whatnot, believe me, you folks, especially Western ones, will not be the one, or your posterity will not be the one to be able to bear it. Let's put it this way. Once cryptocurrency take over, whatever money you have saved, bank, government bonds, whatever, it's gone. That's it. Go ask your economist or banker. They will only tell you about it if they're your relatives. Have a nice day, my friends.